Hello there, and welcome. It's been a while. Today, I want to talk about excellent English practice, or getting the most value out of your at-home study time. Let's look at this English phrase. Practice makes perfect. This is an old English phrase that most English speakers know, and you've probably heard of before. It basically means hard work pays off. And so in that way, I think it connects very strongly with the Japanese work ethic. However, I think this phrase is a little wrong. And I'm not the only one who thinks so. Most educators in America are trying to change this phrase to instead read perfect practice makes perfect. Now, what is the difference? The difference is perfect practice makes perfect puts an emphasis on the quality of the practice you are doing. Now, say you're studying for the A-Chem. You could study for 5 hours just memorizing English vocab. Or you could spend 30 minutes talking to either an English teacher or an ALT like me, or even just trying to talk to your friend in English. I can promise you that the students who do that will be much better prepared than the students who try to just sit and memorize vocab. Now, it's important to learn vocab, but it's not the only type of practice. And today, I'm going to talk about how you can get different types of practice from your textbook. In educational theory, there is something called the rule of 3. It has its foundations dating back to ancient Greece over 2,000 years ago with Aristotle. Now, what is the rule of 3? It basically means that students should learn the material, or should have the chance to learn the material 3 times before they are expected to know and apply it. And ideally, each of those times should be learning it in a different way. So let's take your Element English textbook. How can we get 3 different ways of learning from one passage? Well, I'll show you. The first thing you're going to want to do is, this sounds boring, but read the passage. The first step should always be reading. You should take your time. Maybe look up some words you don't understand, underline parts that are confusing. I recommend not using your dictionary as much as possible, but do what works best for you. You should read through the entire passage first. After that, well, what's another key language skill? Well, how about listening? Unfortunately, it's hard to listen to English in a controlled setting. If you try to listen to foreign media, it might be complicated or use too many words you don't understand. But the textbook is designed for you to learn and understand. So really, you should listen to the textbook. Now, what do I mean by that? You should listen to either a native English speaker or someone with good English speak the textbook to you. Read the textbook to you. This can't always happen, and it obviously can't happen during a test, but if you have time, it's really good practice. Now, in order to help you with that, I'm going to record a lot of passages from the English textbook and give them to you so you can listen to them. I hope you take advantage of that. To get the most out of it, you need to put your book away for this. You should focus on just listening and not reading. This is to really build that fundamental listening skill. Now, I said this was a rule of 3. I lied. There's a hidden optional step 2.5. And that's doing both. If you're still having trouble understanding the passage, I recommend putting on the audio, playing the audio, while following along in the book. This will help you create the connection from the concept of the words to the actual sounds that are being said. It's not required, but I recommend it. The third step, this is the step that is probably hardest for students to will themselves to do. It's speaking. Speaking is the fundamental, highest level of mastery you can imagine. If you can speak a foreign language, you have it. Even if you can't write it, speaking is in some ways more useful. So here's what I recommend. You should speak the whole thing aloud. You really should. You should take the whole passage and just read it aloud. Say the entire thing. You don't have to go fast. You don't have to say it to anyone else. But I can't tell you how much of a better reader, writer, listener, and speaker you will be if you just practice saying the entire thing. Just once. You don't have to do it anymore. But I believe that if you actually sit down and read the whole thing out loud and speak it out loud, your English skill will increase tremendously. It's the difficulty of the sounds that makes foreign language so hard. Finally, there's the last category. I know I said this is the rule of 3, but let's consider these 3 to be the practice rounds and rule 4 to be the application round. Now, in this case, rule 4 is writing. To be honest, your textbook has prompts and questions after a reading to test your understanding, and you have to write responses. That's good writing practice. It's not writing an essay, it's quick and answering quick. That works for writing. That part is already in the textbook. If you do all of this for each of your lessons throughout the year, I can promise you that your English skill will increase tremendously. And it will also make our in-class discussions more fruitful. And I'm really excited for the chance to get to talk with you. But as you know, right now, we can't do that. That's okay. I hope you are all safe at home and that your families and friends are safe. I really look forward to seeing you when we're all safe and can be at school safely. And I really hope you take advantage of this time to get in some perfect practice. Because, as they say, perfect practice makes perfect. All right, see you later.